All right, welcome grade 7. In this video, we're going to be stepping through exercise 12.1 practice questions. Again, this is only needed if you get stuck on any of the questions as we go through. But we're going to go through some of the solutions to these particular questions. First of all, number one. Number one has two parts to it, and it asks us to find both the area and perimeter for each square whose length is given in inches. So we know we're dealing with squares. So for 1a, the square that we are given has a side length of 5. It actually gives it here as well, although we don't really need it because we are told that, well, it's a square. And so we know that if one side length is 5, the other one has to be 5 as well. Let's start off with perimeter. Perimeter is just the distance around. So remember that perimeter equals 4 times the side length, or 4x. In this case, the side length is 5, so perimeter is 4 times 5, which is 20 centimeters. Remember that with perimeter, it's just centimeters, not squared at all. For area equals x squared, or side length squared. So area equals 5 squared, which is 25. In this case, we are multiplying centimeters by centimeters, so we end up with 25 centimeters squared here. B gets a little bit trickier because they throw in a variable into the mix as well. So for this particular square, well, it might not look like a square, but for that square, we're told that the side length is 3x. There's another one here, but that's not needed. So for perimeter is going to be 4 times 3x. And this gets us back to our algebra days. 4 times 3x is just going to give us a 12x. And so that's going to be our perimeter. Then for our area is going to be x squared. And so in this case, that's 3x squared. Now the tricky thing here to remember is that the 3 and the x are going to get squared here, or going to be multiplied by each other. So we end up with 3 squared is 9, and x squared is, well, x squared, and then centimeters squared. So it's a little bit trickier here when we're dealing with the area, when we throw in a variable, but that would be how we would solve and how we would figure out the perimeter and the area for that particular question. For number 2, we are given an A and a B part of the question, but I only ask you to solve the A part of the question here. So this time we're dealing with a rectangle. And again, we have to figure out perimeter and area. So the rectangle has a similar formula. It's just the side lengths are not necessarily the same. So we have to throw in a little bit extra there. Instead of being 4 times x, because these are not the same, we have to do 2 times length and 2 times width and kind of add those together. Or really it's 5 plus 4 plus 5 plus 4 if you want to go that route. So our formula though is 2 times length plus width. So our perimeter equals 2 times 5 plus 4, or 2 times 9, which is going to give us a perimeter of 18 centimeters. For our area, it's also a little bit slightly different formula. It's going to be length times width. So our area equals 5 centimeters times 4 centimeters, which is going to give us 20 centimeters squared. And so that wraps up question number 2. As we go through and solve area and perimeter for a rectangle. Question 3 has us doing the same thing, but now we are dealing with a triangle. So in question 3, we have a triangle A. This time we're only asked to figure out the area. We don't have to figure out the perimeter for this one. So triangle 3A, we have a shape that looks a little bit like this. We're told that this is 20, and we have kind of a dotted line here, and that this number is 16. The 20 is going to represent our base for our formula, and 16 is going to be our height. Remember that our formula for the area of a triangle is that area equals base times height divided by 2. So in this case, our base is 20, it's the base of the triangle here, times the height. The height is the distance from the bottom of the triangle to the tip of the triangle, which is going to be 16 divided by 2. Area equals 20 times 16 is going to be 320 divided by 2, which gives us an area of 160 centimeters squared for that particular one. In question B, we have a little bit of a different formula, or a little bit of a different question here. We are given letters and variables in our triangle instead of just numbers. So here's our triangle that we're working with. We're told that it has a base of 3h, and then this is its height here, a height of h. So this is going to get a little bit trickier as we go through trying to solve this, but it works the same way. This is our base, this is our height, so our area equals base times height divided by 2. Our area equals 3h times h divided by 2. 3h times h is going to be 3h squared divided by 2, which means our area is now 1.5 h squared centimeters squared. So that one ended off with a little bit of a trickier one, but hopefully these videos have helped if you've gotten stuck anywhere along the way in solving these particular practice questions.